All right, so we're back again for our next coaching session. Vivek, thanks for joining me here. Let's start with some grounding again for our session tonight. And I wanted to make the invitation to you, if you're open to it. Would you like to lead us through a few minutes of grounding? You don't have to, but I wanted to put it to you.
Okay. Okay, let's do it. So I can just close the eyes. And just check in with your body. There are some parts of the body that are happy and some that may not be as happy. And without trying to change anything, just noticing, just notice. Then bring the attention to the breath. And just notice as you breathe in, the belly fills up. And as you breathe out, it falls. The incoming breath energizes the system. And the outgoing breath brings relief. They relax and let go all the effort. Another deep breath in and let go. And then when you're ready, slowly, gradually, you can open the eyes.
That was excellent. You're welcome to lead these from now on. I think. Yeah, that was amazing. It really, for me, connected me to my breath and just being aware of the sort of just the deeper breath there. So thank you for sharing that. So back to you. In our time together, we've got about 55 minutes today. What would you like to explore in our session?
Yes. So in the coaching request that I sent you yesterday, I want to stick to that topic. So what I had said was, like last week, we had this thing where you said, okay, send me a coaching request the day before. And I was struggling with it. Like, okay, what will I ask? Like, what should I, what would that be? Instead of just being at ease with, okay, whatever comes up, I was like, there was this sort of anxiety about, what would it be? Because a part of me wanted this experience to be as wonderful as last week. So there was this I guess, unconscious pressure about it. And then I started to know, and then the way it resolved itself was like, oh, maybe this could be the topic to talk about it, because like, what is happening here? And then I started to notice that there are times where I stop myself from doing something because in my head, it's already like, it won't be great. Like, to give you an example, so there is something that I want to do with my group that, that I've already taught, right? I've taught them the breathing techniques, and I want to get them together for once a week to watch some videos together. Okay. And I have been sort of resisting making that happen because in my mind, it's like, what if only one or two people sign up and the experience won't be as great? Right. So in my mind, already there's this dialogue that, oh, not many people will sign up. It won't be that great. I'll make this commitment, and then I will need to keep up with that commitment, even though it's just two people or whatever. Right. So I have not even started it. Right. I have not even started in talking to people about, hey, this is what I want to do. So there is a resistance to do things where the outcome is somehow, in my mind, that idea has come that this outcome is not going to be great. Where I want to be is to be at ease with it. So like a combination of, okay, I can plan for it to be successful or more according to how I want it, and at the same time be okay with however it is. Because if I just relax and think about it, even if it's just two people and I sit with them for whatever 5 weeks, once a week, I will grow out of that experience. They will benefit from it. And then maybe the next iteration, there will be more people, or even if there is no next iteration, at least those three people and that experience would be actually very wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like a part of me kind of knows that, but a part of me also is resisting that, right? So that's
Okay.
yeah.
So the first thing I just wanted to check in with you.
Yes.
So I heard that. I'll just put that out there. I heard what you shared.
Yes.
You'd mentioned the word anxiety.
Yes.
There's sort of anxiety that comes up around this. What does anxiety mean to you?
What does anxiety mean to me? Anxiety means the feeling of like discomfort with a particular idea that is stuck in the head, which prevents me from taking action. Like
Mm-hmm.
in theory, I know that if I take action, that will subside and I will make progress. But there's discomfort and sort of like um, going around in circles in the head and not taking action. Right? That's what happens.
Okay. And would you say like with that that sort of discomfort in taking action, which leads to actually not taking the action, is that a regular thing for you, or does it? Yeah. Really, let me pull it back a sec. Is that consistent for you, or is that something that just shows up once in a blue moon?
It shows up where in places where I'm expecting a certain, like maybe unconsciously expecting a certain outcome, but at the same time, I'm not sure that's how it will happen. Right? I mean, so there's some uncertainty about. Actually, more than uncertainty, it's like I I keep going back to this unconscious part of it. Like I'm not clear about exactly, like I've not spelled out what success looks like or what will I be okay with. So there's an unconscious picture of success, and which seems unattainable, and that's where it comes up, right? So that's the part where it comes up. Or
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's
Okay. Yeah. And so sort of the added piece there is you spoke to is like when there's uncertainty or sort of stepping into the unknown, it feels like that's where that
Yes.
feeling comes up.
Right.
So the reason why I'm highlighting that just right off the get-go is that sometimes, and this might not be the case for you, but sometimes it might be looking at, some sort of therapeutic or, really just that. I'm not going to jumble my words around it. When we're speaking about anxiety, sometimes it might be worth looking at like, oh, is there an opportunity here for some sort of therapeutic support, counseling to actually specifically address like how that anxiety occurs. So I'm going to leave that with you. If that's something that you ever want to explore, we definitely can together. And if it comes up in the conversations again too, I'm going to kind of highlight it. But so is any questions around that at all?
No, I mean, so like I don't feel it's like a place where it's debilitating to prevent me from doing what I want to do. So it's not like, like we talked about the difference between coaching and therapy in the past, right? So it's not like I don't see it as, oh, this is preventing me from doing what I want to do. But at the same time, it shows up in certain areas where I'm testing the edge of where I want to go. And that's where it shows up. And in some sense, I would think that's expected, right? Because I'm testing the edge of where I'm going to go, which is unknown, and then so it's expected. So that's why, yeah, I'll just
yeah. And the one piece that I put in is like, maybe even in a therapeutic conversation, like the focus could be exactly on that topic, like debilitating or not, it could be a resource there for you in the future just to look at. And as you're speaking to it, that might be a place that we absolutely focus on in our coaching together is, how does that show up for you when you're in those unknowns, those places that you haven't been? Because absolutely, it's going to be present in just the, just as you shared it, right? Like as I'm stepping into the unknown, some of these feelings come up for me. And like you said, if it's not debilitating for you or sort of keeping you stuck, then we work with that, right? So I just wanted to highlight that for you.
Sure.
Now coming back to where you're speaking in the coaching request. So some of the initial pieces that I heard, if I really was to narrow down what you said, was like being kind of having this sense of ease in the decisions that you make. So whether it's in a coaching request or in a group program that you're creating, like whatever you decide to commit to, there's just this process of ease. And even like that's the choice, like you've made this choice to stay committed to it. Would you add anything else to that?
I think the word ease captures it. Like I was going to say to be okay with however it turns out, but that's captured by ease, right? So
okay. So okay. So like we're starting to kind of see, like, I mean, there's a lot of clarity in that statement. What are you curious about in that? Like if we actually look at moving this forward for you in your life, like what would you want?
I'm thinking like what I would want is, this clarity for myself that, okay, what am I stepping into? What do I really want to happen? And what if it doesn't happen? Like, am I okay with the outcome? Or like life never happens exactly how you want it to happen, right? I mean, it always comes with its own flavors. So what do I, like if I'm starting something, then what will it be? Which was what is it that will tell me that, yeah, this was worth it? And maybe it's not. I don't know if so. Yeah, I'm not sure that's. I don't think that's exactly what I want, because you never know ahead of time whether it was worth it or not. You cannot, right? I mean, it's like, or maybe to some extent you can. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a good question. What do I want? Maybe. Okay, so I think what I would want for it to look like is that when I commit to something, I have ease around it. Like, okay, yes, this is what I'm committing to, and this is. No, okay. You have to help me a little bit. I don't know the answer to that question. Okay, maybe can you just ask that question again, so I can I can think about it maybe a little differently.
Well, what do you notice about even in this moment right now, when there's uncertainty of what exactly the thing might be? How's that showing up for you? What's the feeling that you're feeling right now in this moment?
So what I'm feeling is like, oh, I don't have a clear answer, and that's creating this sort of discomfort around like not knowing what it is, and wanting to come to an answer, right? Or to somehow, like, yeah, to somehow come to a resolution. That's what I want to do.
So there's sort of confusion in the moment. There's not fully clarity in it. What you're speaking to is like there's this sort of pull to like find the answer, get to some sort of place of resolution.
Yes, it's my engineering brain, right? It wants everything defined.
And so if we relate this right, what a beautiful moment, because if we relate this right to whether it's the coaching request or you creating the group, where might we see the similarities?
Yeah. It's okay. So I'm noticing something slightly like, paradoxical, right? Because last time we talked about, oh, I want to have this freedom, right? And freedom comes with uncertainty also. And now I'm saying, no, I want some clarity and definitiveness in what I want, what I'm going to do, because I want, like certain things. So that's what I'm noticing, right? That when like a part of me wants that uncertainty, because that's, it's exciting. But in this moment and in this kind of situation, it wants resolution. Like I want resolution and clarity. And so that's kind of like a paradox, right? Or whatever, like I don't know if paradox is the right word, but yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
from where we're at, and like from what you've shared so far, what are we really looking to explore tonight?
To be at ease with not knowing the outcome and still making forward motion. I think that's what we want.
Okay.
That's what I want. Okay.
Be at ease with not knowing outcome and still taking action. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anything you're noticing just in making that statement?
This relief.
Mm.
The tension that was there before, where I was like, a little mumbling and a little struggling with the confusion, and then asking you to repeat the question, all of that has sort of settled down just by saying that, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing
That's
it.
great. That's great. Feels great. Just like, in some sense, it's a resolution, but in another sense, it's also a start, right? I mean, it's like it's a start of clarity, I think. And that, like, oh yeah, this is what I was really looking for.
Yeah, and that might be a place to continue to notice in your day-to-day life of, oh, am I feeling tense? Am I feeling, I was going to say the word nervous, but more of like that tension, that like, oh, I've got to get this thing figured out, seeing where that shows up. That, that's
Yeah.
gives a note. And we saw it right here in this moment of like, that desire to get to that place.
Yes.
So be at ease with not knowing the outcome and still taking action. So that's where you want to be. And where are you at now? Like how is this showing up in your life today?
How is this showing up in my life today?
Let me actually come back to that question.
Okay.
So we can see where you want to be in a place of ease, more comfort in the unknown, taking action. And the slight pivot in the question of like, okay, well, what's life like now? How maybe do these dynamics show up in your life now, and how don't they show up in your life?
Okay, so how they show up and how they. So okay, so one example from just today, right? Thanksgiving is coming up. I have planned to go on a trip, but I have not booked my tickets yet because I'm looking at all the different options for, okay, I could either fly in here and then rent a car, or I could go there and then trying to figure out, okay, what's the, like in terms of pricing and all of that, what will work, what will not work. And this has been going on for 2 days now, right? And so like from day before yesterday, I've been like, oh, I spent some time, I look at prices, and I'm like, nah, none of them is sort of, quite right. And what has been interesting about that is that the like the first time when I didn't book the ticket, the next day something in the plan changed, which gave me a little more flexibility around the dates, which meant that I could get a little cheaper ticket, right? Because the dates shifted around a little bit. But now I know that's the plan, and I still have not booked it because this is, yeah. It's like I haven't figured out all the steps, right? But okay, how will I go where? What that would look like. I don't know if that's the right example, but anyways, that's what came to my mind in terms of. There's another example from a few, like couple of weeks ago, maybe. So, which is that at my work, I had been speaking to my manager about, how it's not quite working out in the team that I'm in, and so I'm going to look for, other teams within the same company. And I found a place where, everything seemed to look like, oh, this could work out. The other team also agreed to take me on. But then when it came time to make a decision, And I told my manager, hey, I found a place where I'll go. And he said, can I talk to you? Can we talk about, maybe I can find you a different role in this team. And I was very quick to say yes to him and no to the other team. And I'm not sure if I should have taken more time around it. Um, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, whether we look at this example of the travel or even in the career opportunity, like, what are you noticing about yourself? Like yeah, let's just go with that. Like what makes you dissatisfied with how you're showing up?
What makes me dissatisfied the way I'm showing up is that in my mind, I think that I'm not conscious and clear about what I really want or the parameters of what I really want. And that shows up as indecisiveness, or it shows up, yeah.
Okay.
Like,
So yeah.
I put off taking decisions because of that.
Okay. So a couple of things that a couple of things that you've spoken to, like, okay, if we kind of, here's the path, we still see the path as like, you want to create more ease and ease in the unknown and take action. And some of the things that are in the way of that right now are hesitation, indecisiveness, and ultimately putting off decisions.
Yeah.
And even a place to check into is like, in this process, like, how does it feel? Does it feel ease? Whether you're looking at these travel websites, this booking, like, does that feel easeful? Or like, what's the energy when you're in that moment?
Yeah, the energy in that moment is like, it's discomfort. It's like, yeah. Like, I'm not myself at that time, for sure.
Okay.
Like, I know there are times where I can be totally at ease with whatever is happening, and I'm in the flow, and I can like I know there are parts of me which are like that, where I show up with that kind of ease, right? And what I've noticed is that if other people around me are not at ease, I tend to be the one who brings in the ease. But if it's only me, then it's like I'm not at ease with that. Right? So this is very, very interesting for me. It's almost as if like I need other people to be at like not at ease and be crazy so that I can bring that ease. But when I'm by myself, or I have to make a decision for myself, then that uneasiness shows up.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Got it. And so if we look at like having this ease in your life, stepping into the unknown, and this ability to take action, if you are able to create that in your life, like, what's the benefit of that?
What's the benefit of if I'm at ease with stepping into the unknown, or stepping into the unknown with ease? It's a more fulfilling life, I think. Like more vibrant life, I would think. Yeah. Like not hesitating to take chances, I think. That's,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Okay.
yeah, more alive, more alive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, kind of what you're speaking to, right? Like there'll be more fulfillment. You'll be able to take more chances. You'll be more alive, in whatever it is that you are, making decisions around. And what would you need to leave this conversation with tonight to move this forward for you?
Hmm. What do I? So there are there are definitely times where I'm at ease with uncertainty and I can move through things. And then there are times where this shows up. So what I would like to leave this conversation with is that when I'm not, like, a way for me to check in and recognize when I'm not at ease with something, and in that moment, maybe some reminder or some practice that says, okay, just relax, and then like like pause to acknowledge that discomfort so that it can make room for forward movement. Like what I've noticed is that if I just acknowledge that I'm this uncomfortable about something, that makes the discomfort subside, and it, like, maybe not go away completely, but subside enough to get some clarity or to move forward, right? And this also I've noticed in the past that this happens. But I think what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for a magic cube, which, like, every time that some discomfort happens, I can do that and then I can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Not spend, like, I'm not, like, I'm okay with the fact that discomfort will happen. That's part of life, right? I mean, if there's discomfort, but when it does happen, at that time, can I just pause and acknowledge and then move forward?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, even the move forward is not a requirement. If you can just pause and acknowledge, the forward motion will happen on its own.
Mm.
Uh, like what happened just few minutes ago, right? The moment you said, okay, what's happening right now, you brought my attention to it, and then there was clarity after that. It came on its own. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've got something here for yourself. Like you've got a recognition right here of what you need. Um,
The question is, what does that look like in real life, right? Or in real time? I think, like, right now we're talking about, you know, like the conversation we had where you brought my attention to it, or we're looking at things that have happened in the past, and now looking back, I can look at it.
mhm.
But what can I do in real time? Or how can I notice in real time that, oh, I'm not comfortable? Or can I build up a muscle that will tell me, oh, I'm not comfortable right now,
Mhm.
or something is coming? I think that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, what I'm sort of picking up on this is that it kind of feels like there's so many potentialities where this could show up. Like, how can I have one thing that sort of like
Yeah, yeah.
encapsulates it all,
Correct,
right? In a
correct,
sense.
correct. Which is fine. Like, it doesn't have to be one thing that encapsulates it all. But yeah.
Yeah. And I would put it to you, like, looking inward and just with yourself right now, if you know the trust is there, and maybe in this moment it might not be, and maybe we have to sort of partner in this to discover it. But I would actually put it back to you, like knowing what you know, knowing the skill sets that you have, what might you be able to put into practice to, you know, check in with yourself in those moments.
I think if I just pause, right? Like in a conversation, if I just pause and notice what's going on, that's it, right? Just, yeah, just pausing and noticing. Kind of like how we started this session with, right? When I said, okay, just notice, okay, what's going on in the body, what's going on in the breath. That's it. I think that is the practice. That is the practice.
Yeah. And one thing I just wanted to clarify with you. So in that statement, you said like when I'm in a conversation, and I'm curious about that, you know, is that in conversation with others or conversation with yourself or with both? Like, what do you
Both,
see? Yeah.
both, both.
Okay. Okay. So if we anchor that to a practice, can you sort of bottom line that into a sentence? Like, what will the practice be?
The practice would be that, so if I'm in a conversation with somebody else, then uh, then it would be just like in the conversation, finding or creating moments of just pause where I'm just checking in with myself, right? Um, and maybe it's out loud where I'm checking in with the other person also. That's TBD. Uh, and when I'm doing something on my own, like for example, looking for tickets, whatever, just maybe I put in a timer for whatever 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and say, okay, 10 minutes into what I'm doing, I want to check in with, okay, how do I feel about what's going on, and where am I at with it?
Okay. So it sounds like there's sort of two parts to that in a sense. Do you see that?
No, I don't see that.
Hmm. So in you know, in sort of the situation with others, to just check in with yourself, you know, maybe have that moment of pause, whether it's internal or voicing it aloud, like that's the practice there. And
Yes.
then with yourself is actually using a timer, setting a timer.
Oh, that way. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It would be very weird to set a timer when I'm in conversation with somebody else. So that's though it would help, but I think
Yeah.
it would, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's it.
Cool. So if we come back to that one around the utilizing the timer, so what will happen
Yes.
once that timer goes off? It's
So when the timer goes off, it's a reminder for me to just pause and check in with myself. How am I feeling in the moment? What am I thinking about what I'm doing? Is there something that's, yeah, I think more feeling than thinking, but okay, for both. And just noticing what, like, am I getting stuck? Am I getting agitated? Am I at ease?
mhm,
And by noticing, like, just coming back to a place of ease, and then taking the next step.
mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. The one thing that I would check in with you on, and that is that, you know, does that mean for every decision over the next week you're going to be setting a timer? is there going to be specific areas that you're focusing on? Like what do you see for yourself?
So I know I need to book these tickets. So that is one thing that I will, like, that's one thing that's coming up.
Okay.
So when I do that, I'll use this technique.
Cool.
Is there anything else that's coming up? I know I have a lunch conversation with somebody tomorrow. I'm meeting somebody for lunch, so I'll use the other part of it during that conversation. Yeah, I think those two.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything else that's coming. Well, yes, I can use this also at when I'm doing something for my work that I'm doing for, like, by myself. So I can do the same. I can use the same technique. Like, okay, I know that I have to do this chunk of work, and so maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes into it, I have a timer which goes off at that time, where I can check in and say, okay, how do I feel about this?
Okay. So you also utilizing the timer, that check-in process in periods of your workday.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
So we've got about 18 minutes left. And I want to check in with you at this point, like in terms of that coaching request of, creating more ease, stepping into the unknown while stepping into the unknown and being in action. How are we doing right now?
How are we doing right now? So I think I have some clarity around, okay, if like noticing when I'm not at ease, and noticing, and then the forward, like then sort of the action follows from that noticing. That I'm good with. What I'm not yet clear about is what to do when the mind makes up these stories about, like, like for example, the booking the flights is something that I need to do. So there's a process around it. But the part about, let's say, like, the thing I shared earlier about starting a group thing for a few weeks, right? If I stay stuck in that thinking, it'll never happen because there's no external sort of forcing function for it, right? So it's something that I need to commit to and act on it. How do I handle that part of it is not there yet.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the piece, just so I'm clear, I feel like I got it, but I'm gonna check in
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
So like when we look at that example of the group program, being that it's uncertain of the outcome, sounds like the thing to sort of put off is actually like putting a date in the sand, actually planting the flag and saying, okay, I'm going to do this thing.
Correct.
Yeah, I get where you're looking. I guess the thing that I'm unclear on is like, what are you actually looking for in that?
What am I looking for in that is what's the what can I tell myself to take the first step, right? I mean, I think it's, if I take the first step, the second step will follow from it. But it's taking the first step is where all this chick in the brain is happening, right? That, oh, what will it be? How will it turn out? I have this hesitation. I'm feeling uncomfortable about it. How do I, like, can I put something around, like, can I like, do I, yeah, I mean, can I do something to get out of that uh, that fuzziness that about taking the first step. Like, does it mean, okay, just clarifying what the first step is? Does it mean maybe journaling and just sort of letting out whatever is going on onto a paper so that I can move past it, right? I mean, like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of chuckling to myself in that because like the thing that really came clear to me in that is like, okay, if we look at the coaching request of ease, stepping out into the unknown and taking action, it feels like all those things that you spoke to just right now are really hard. I got to go journal and like
I know.
figure this thing out. Like, so
Yeah.
I would put it to you, like, if in the life design of how you want this to go, what if this could just be easy?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. What if you could just that's it, right? Then that's what I want, is for it to be easy. Right? Uh, yeah.
Allow that to sit. What if this could just be easy? What if the decision to act could be easy? How might you approach this?
Let's just do it and see what happens. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
That feels very true to me. Like, it's like, yeah, that's how life is, right? You go with it and you see what happens.
Mm.
Rather than all this mental gymnastics of, oh, how will it be, this, that, whatever. What
Mm-hmm.
if I could just like, okay, who cares? Right? Just go.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Just go.
So, and I'd invite you to like, even, in this commitment to this group program or whatever else is coming to you in this moment, to, as you said, just to allow yourself to take the action and see what happens. So what's the next step? What's coming to you?
Oh, for the group program, what's coming to me is just like call 3 or 4 people and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Are you in or not? Right? And then, okay, if they say no, then okay, no. Okay, if they say yes, okay, then this is the date we're starting.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, who cares if it's just one more person?
Mm-hmm.
Or who cares if there's nobody else? So, like, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
and even in that, it makes sense where you're looking. What would happen if you got zero, like all no's?
If I It's nearly impossible to get all no's because
Okay.
there's so many. Like, I mean, there at least like a handful of people who I know will be like, yeah, this is what I want for me, right? So, and they'll come, right? So, and if nobody comes, then I think, okay. So if nobody comes, that's when I will send you a coaching request to say, okay, now I'm disappointed. How do I get out of it? Or how do I just go again, kind of thing? But okay.
Yeah, and
That's
the
about
place
it.
that I would just invite you into is like, okay, if we're looking at like ease into action,
Mm-hmm.
what if you just put the date out there of when you
Yes.
wanted to do the workshop?
Hmm. Yeah.
You made that commitment
Yes.
now.
Yes. Yes.
How might that be different than, again, as you mentioned, maybe a part of that is making those phone calls, but there's this kind of upper level decision of like, who cares about whether those people are in or out? When is the program going to happen?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think, what is it, November 3rd? I'm thinking like I'll start the week before Thanksgiving, then give a break, 1 week break for Thanksgiving, and then start again, or just start right after Thanksgiving and then go into whatever December. One of those two.
Okay.
I should just pick one. Yeah. I know that's what you're going to say. Just pick one. Sooner the better. Okay. We'll start the week before Thanksgiving, and then we'll break for 1 week for Thanksgiving, and then we'll resume again the following week. It'll be 5 weeks, and 5 weeks total, I mean, not counting the week of Thanksgiving. And we'll meet once a week for an hour or so on Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. That'll be the program, and I know exactly what I'm going to do during that program. So I just need to now tell people, hey, this is what we're doing, and who's in, kind of thing.
Excellent. And what's the start date?
Start date. 17th, 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Why should I? I'm thinking it should be actually next week, but okay.
You choose.
Why wait? Okay, so what I'm noticing right now happening is that I know I'm going to meet some of these people this weekend. And so like a part of me is like, maybe I should just check in with 2 or 3 people. Is next week too soon, or should I start in 2 weeks? Or I should just say next week is when we are starting. And so I'm noticing that hesitation in me. It's like, part of me wants to check in with a few people and then decide. And then another part of me is like, just decide and then see who comes, kind of thing. Yeah.
And so if we're talking about in service of ease, stepping out into that unknown and taking action, what's present for you? Which decision do you want to go with?
I think it'll be more fun if I just start next week. Like more fun in the sense, like more fun in terms of exploring this unknown kind of thing.
Okay. Right? So what's the start date?
Start date is 1 week from today, 10th.
Okay, November 10th. Nice.
November 10th.
Great work in making that commitment. I really want to acknowledge you for just like being willing to play with this and see what comes. And we're going to start to wind down here because we got we got about 7 minutes, but are you open to one more practice that I would give you to sort of broaden this, how this is coming? Yes. So the place exactly as you just practiced right here is being in that mindset of beginning with the end in mind. So like putting the date out first, and then doing the things that need to happen afterwards to get that thing completed. The practice that I have for you there is to look at some of the other areas of your life where maybe you've been stalling or hesitating, or just like, there's been some space in between making decisions, to actually start putting it on paper of like, this is the by when. I'm committing to, and again, bringing ease into it, right? But like, I'm committing to taking this step by when, by this date. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool.
And so the way I would capture that by when is like, what I want to do is make just take it one step forward. Like I want to put it on like either the calendar or a Google Sheet or something like that, where it's like visible to me. Perfect. Not just like, oh, I said I'll do it. This is by when it is. Because then if it's just in the thoughts, then it gets lost.
Got it. Yeah. And so great commitment to actually like put it on calendar.
Yeah.
Awesome. So is there anything else that you need around in with regards to our conversation tonight? Anything coming to you?
I think I need to make some notes about what, like the three things that we talked about, right? Just like maybe we'll just recap it and then I'll write it down later.
Sure.
So one
Are
is,
you open to, we can just do the recap after we
that's
complete
fine.
the recording.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. In terms of the coaching request, how did we do?
I think it was like, so the magical moment for me, there were a few of those, right? Like magical moments. One is where you brought attention to, okay, what is happening in this moment, and noticing what's happening. So that was very powerful for me. It's just, and then like the shift that I saw in my own energy from being like, oh, I want this to resolve, and then just like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's like, so that was very profound. Um, the second thing about where you, like, this happened last week also, where in my head I'm like, oh, I have to do all these things which are very complicated and heavy, but then he was like, just relax. Wait a minute. Like, you didn't say just relax, but like that was the sense that you communicated. So that was very powerful. It's like, yeah, the answer is there already. I don't have to make a whole like drama about getting to the answer. I could get it with ease. The same thing happened last week also. So it was very powerful. Both of them were very powerful.
Yeah, I think like the really cool thing about this conversation was it was a great representation of like, you know, when we talk about career or the experience that you're having with booking travel, it's like, okay, those things are sort of outside of the conversation, and yet right here in this conversation, that same dynamic was playing out. So we got to sort of experience it right here in the moment. So thank you for allowing that to just be, because it allowed us truly to work with like what's in the space together. Anything missing, disempowering, or incomplete?
No. I think like I just want to echo what you just said. It's like, yeah, if we had talked about, travel or career or whatnot, it would just still have been theory and like, oh, it's not here right now. But what happened here right now was the most powerful thing in terms of like, that direct experience of, oh, this is what you're talking about. So that was very powerful for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So willing to complete here?
Yes.
And acknowledgement. Who would you like to be acknowledged for in terms of the qualities that you brought to our conversation today?
So I think I was very open. I was very open in the moment to share what was going on. And even though I stumbled a little bit here and there with the confusion, and you brought me back to being aware of the confusion, and that was very, yeah.
I really want to acknowledge you. The first word that came to me was presence, like just for the presence that you bring to the conversation. And I think that like what is true there is like the presence connected to the awareness, like the awareness of your body, what's happening in the moment. What a gift, because again, it gives you access to like so many different pathways. Like, oh, you can really feel into, the moment for yourself and see both the impact and like where you could potentially go from there. Really beautiful work in that. Of course, acknowledging you for your openness, just the willingness to allow the conversation to be in confusion or even messy at points, and like allowing that to be okay, because the beauty of what really showed is like your authenticity, right? The authenticity that then leads into the power that you have, the power that you have to create, the power that you have to play and bring flexibility and ease into the directions that you want to go. Like that's really present. So thanks for modeling that and allowing that to be in the space.
Thank you.